some point now, but I think we're live now. And welcome to Mr. Most Days Off Loves Everything. This is my Friday show where, unlike my other weekly show, the Best Darn Diddly Review Show, where I only talk about The Simpsons, here I get to talk about other random stuff that I love. And today, I am going to get an education on video games from some very knowledgeable Mega Man nerds, and we're going to get started returning to the show now for I don't know how many times, but he's a great guest, so we always like to have. He's half of the Secret Levels podcast, and I think we determined, what are you, the Megalord, the Overlord of Bad Secret Media?
Yeah, I think it was Overlord.
Overlord of Bad Secret Media. Welcome back, Toby Von Doom.
What's up?
His partner in crime and the other half of the Secret Levels podcast. Welcome back to the show, Goobs, who may or may not actually be.
Thanks for having me back.
We'll work on that. And joining us for the first time, a friend of mine and an absolute diehard Mega Man fan. His name is going by Ryan Frank, or am I supposed to pronounce your Fuhrhelm? Which one do you prefer? I don't even know anymore.
I don't care anymore. This school is so relaxed. I don't think it really matters.
It doesn't really matter. Cool. All right. Well, we'll just call him Ryan. Super fan. And I told you guys that I wanted to wait to share like what level of nerd, of specifically Mega Man nerd, Ryan was before we or while we were on the air. So the reason that I invited Ryan to be on the show today is because at his wedding, his groom's cake was in the design of a Mega Man energy tank. And
yes,
it was one of the more impressive things I've ever seen. So we're going to start with Ryan, sir. Tell us a little bit about like why and when you became a fan of the Mega Man series.
I had two older brothers who had a Nintendo because I was born same year as Mega Man 87. So I guess like they had Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 before I could even, can form memories. And I remember asking for Mega Man 4 for my birthday. Got the X series for the SNES. I think Mega Man 3 was one of the first NES games I beat like on my own after practicing with the Game Genie. But,
Speaking of Game Genies, we actually have the Goobs Genie here today.
Don't bring him out.
Yeah, let's not. But Goobs, same question, dude. What about you? Like, when did you become a fan of the Mega Man series? Oh, God. What have I done?
Oh, it's me? Yeah, what have you done? I've been born in 83, so 87. Like, I was 4, got the first Mega Man, been a fan ever since. I know I'm on a delay, so I won't keep it too long. I can go on and on about Mega Man, but just listening to me.
We can hear you now, but Toby, Same question, dude. I know we've talked about us being close to the same age in the past, but why, as an 80s baby, why Mega Man, and when did you become a fan of Mega Man?
So 88 was when I was born, so I kind of missed out on the hype of Mega Man, like the original series. So my first introduction was Mega Man X on Super Nintendo, and there was something about the character. And then growing up, there was the cartoon show that I'd watch every morning before school. And my brothers and I, we would actually, this is so stupid, we would roll up pieces of paper and tape them, and we'd color them and design them, and it would be Mega Man's Buster. And we would all play Mega Man. So just Mega Man X is where it started. And then, of course, like I was like, oh, there's other Mega Man games, and that's, Mega Man Soccer, and you start playing all the original.
I'm so glad you
Mega
brought
Man.
that up already. I was going to get there, but yeah, keep going. Sorry.
So
it gets ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and just any version of Mega Man, I've always at least had to try it out and see if like it's something I like. I don't know. It's just one of the characters I always thought was cool. And Zero is one of my favorite characters. So.
That was in the Mega Man X or SX, the third iteration, right?
Well, no, it's in the X series, and then there is a Zero-ish kind of character in the ZX series. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Goobs, I know you, I think, have actually showed it off on this show in the past, but if you want to grab it again, don't you have like a model Mega Man Buster or something of that nature to show off? And Ryan, I wanted to ask you, man, since you
Yeah, I got
perked
it right
up
here.
when Toby brought. Oh, nice, you both have them, nerds. Ryan, you kind of perked up when Toby brought up the Mega Man cartoon show. Is that something that you were also a fan of?
Oh yeah, I would get my grandma to record it for me, and then I would have just like bootleg VHS tapes.
Oh yes,
That's awesome.
he's
Have
still
either-
shooting his.
Have either of y'all tried to watch it recently? Like, is it a cartoon that's worth revisiting in 2020? Does it hold up?
We
It's
actually
funny
just
that you
reviewed
said-
that on Secret Levels.
Yeah, we reviewed it on our Patreon. We do these watch-alongs, and we watched the first 2 episodes of the Mega Man series. And honestly, we gave it a pretty good rating. Even though it's nostalgic, we gave it a good rating just because it kind of does hold up. Like, the animation holds up. It's not as terrible as other cartoons. It's pretty decent.
Especially a lot of the cartoons based on like other video game properties. Like the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon was really good, I remember, but there's a lot of them that were just really bad. Like the Zelda cartoon was really bad. The Mario, different versions of the Mario cartoon were better than others, but they got pretty weird back in the day.
Yeah, and Mega Man was in the Captain N Game Master cartoon, except he was like off color, off brand, and just a horrible like frog voice. It was not good.
Was he based off of the cover art of the first game on the NES?
He didn't have a gun because that would have been a
No, sadly,
kids in
no.
the 80s watching that. But
I want to talk more about like kind of that
Yeah, Mega Man
history
and
and
Captain
whatnot,
N
but
sound like
actually
Froggy from
something.
Little Rascals.
Oh wow. I wanted to ask you guys, and maybe this is the wrong group to ask, frankly, but why? Like, okay, so Mega Man is arguably the mascot of Capcom, like their most popular franchise. You could say Ryu or one of the characters from Street Fighter, but really Mega Man is like their like big independent mascot, I would think. Why do you think that Mega Man did not ascend to the popularity of like Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, and even arguably Crash Bandicoot back in the 90s?
I would think it would have to do with just the skill level that you have to have for the video games, because they are a little bit notoriously hard for a lot of people. Mario's not always exactly easy, or neither is Sonic, but and I feel like those probably got more commercial pushes than Mega Man, because you had Mario or Sonic in the Happy Meals back in the day, and there was more comic books for those characters, and just more merchandise in general. I don't feel like Mega Man's ever been pushed real hard in the same way.
Well, Mega Man
as
had
those other
figures and
characters.
stuff like that as well.
Yeah, with the cartoon series, they had some action figures, but I'm saying like, it's not on the same level as Capcom didn't promote like, it didn't have Nintendo and or Sega behind it pushing it. I feel like, I might be just way wrong on that.
I just think it was too formulaic because it was the same game over and over with just tiny little tweaks, whereas Mario, you had something different every game. Mario was packed in with the system. Mega Man wasn't. But I don't know, like Mega Man would do things that were innovative that just didn't hit. Like technically Mega Man Legends was the first one to do Z targeting on the PlayStation months before Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time came out, but one was Zelda and the other one was not a great success on the PlayStation despite being a great game that actually did get away from the formula and had something original. But yeah, I don't know why he wasn't as successful as Mario.
Toby touched on the difficulty factor, and I could see that definitely contributing to that concept, because Mega Man was really unique in that you actually did not play through in like a chronological way like you would Mario. You do World 1-1 before you move on to the other worlds. Sonic, you had to go through in the set orders of the levels. Mega Man, you chose your own path, and depending on the choices you made, sometimes that game was incredibly difficult, because until you figured out like the nuances of using like the ice gun versus fireman or whatever the weaknesses would be to help yourself like succeed, like without knowing that in advance, that game is straight up hard. And even when you do have the like quote unquote advantage, Mega Man is notoriously difficult, way more so than I would say than Mario and Sonic.
That's a really good point. Because you're right. Because Mario, like the first level of Mario, starts out fairly easy, just like Sonic. Like they're all fairly easy, and they progressively get harder. Mega Man, you pick any stage, and it could just be hard off the bat. Like and I know I can't remember in the original Mega Man series if it does it, but like in the Mega Man X series, if you defeat certain characters before other characters, it'll affect their level. Like it'll affect their entire stage. So if you beat who is it? If you beat the Chill Penguin before you go to the what's the mammoths? Yeah, he's got like fire and lava and crap everywhere. But if you beat Chill Penguin first, his level's completely iced over.
Yeah.
So it makes it a whole lot easier. But you wouldn't know that unless you've played it a million times or read a Nintendo Power or something like that. So, you're right. It's not like there's a progression of like, all right, now you've learned how to play this part. Now we're going to get harder, So that could be part of it.
Yeah, like classic Mega Man doesn't have any of that. And some of the earlier ones, they didn't have that gameplay that would teach you as you went on, like 9 and 10 did. But like if you start on Metal Man stage, it's got the conveyor belt. So if you don't know the buttons and you're not pressing them, you just fall into a pit at the very beginning of the level.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I remember with Mega Man, one of the things that drove me absolutely crazy was the disappearing block sequences. Like those are like that's like controller throwing frustrating at times. And I could see there were probably times that I was just like, fuck this, I'm going to play outside. Video games suck.
The good old Yoku blocks. But another interesting thing about like Mega Man is even though it is like NES difficult or Nintendo difficult, the game is also designed to where you can beat any level without having those power-ups because they've got like different challenge runs or speed runs where you go through the game only using the Mega Buster or the Charge Shot. You don't use any of the boss's weapons. So that's kind of something unique that they did. It's not like you could play a level and get stuck on it because you didn't have the right weapon. You just get stuck because it's freaking hard.
Right. Yeah. Like, whereas, like, I think Metroid, you specifically had to go through, or like games like Metroid, where you kind of have to like get this power up, or even Zelda, like you have to get like the hook shot before you can advance through, this temple
Just
or
like
whatever. With
Castlevania
Mega Man,
as well.
if you're good enough, you can. Yeah, exactly. Like with Mega Man though, if you're good enough, you can literally beat the game with your pea shooter and like be good to go. I actually didn't mention it earlier, but we were kind of talking that, like, I have not traditionally been a huge fan of Mega Man. I've enjoyed the series, but it was one of those games that I didn't play when I was younger. None of my friends had it. The first Mega Man game that I actually played was the version that came out on the Sega Game Gear. My friend down the street had a Game Gear, and he got this game, and we got really into it because it was fucking hard. And like it would, give you at that point, I guess like that would have been like 95. So you're getting to the point as a kid where you're starting to get better at video games than when you first start playing. And I remember like there was like that sense of like, oh, I could beat this level, and it almost like set the bar to like challenge your friend to be able to try to beat that level, or vice versa. Knowing that your friend beat something that you are struggling with makes you want to get that much better, that much faster. Did any of y'all play the Game Gear version though?
I actually recently did a review on it for our Patreon. I do these little pocket reviews where
what's your Patreon? Shout it out just in case anybody
it's patreon.com/Bad Secret Media, and for $1 you can hear it, and all the other little pocket reviews that I do. But it's actually a really good game, and I found out. So this is a little fun fact. If you want to buy that game loose right now, it's $170. But if you want it complete, like with the box and the manual, it's going for about $660 right now.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Holy
Somebody
fuck.
is digging through their like attic right now. Like, where are those Game Gear games that I had lying around?
I know I've got it.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty solid game. There's some differences though. Like the screen actually follows Mega Man when he jumps. Usually when you're playing like one of the other ones, you're kind of stretched out further, so you just see him jumping around. This one like follows you when you jump. So
You had to do a lot
that's
of
the
blind
only
jumps I remember, and that would always like sometimes you're just like and you like had to guess essentially.
Yeah, so like I said, that when you jump up in the air, since the camera follows you, you're like, oh shit, is that platform still moving towards me? Or so you kind of have to guess on that. But it's a pretty solid port for a Sega game or Sega Game Gear game.
So right after I played that game and really liked it, I actually was at the time I lived in Topeka, Kansas, and I was one of the few people lucky enough to experience what was known as the Sega Channel. Are you all familiar with this at all? Okay, so the Sega Channel actually got the North American version. It was the only Sega game at the time. It wasn't actually released on disc or on cartridge or whatever, but it ported to or streamed to the Sega Channel, and it was like a greatest hits collection that like replayed the first 3 games, but there was no save feature. So like you didn't have like the ability, like if I was going through like you couldn't like, have any way of even just like leaving it on like we might used to. You could just hit the pause button and then like turn the TV off while you go eat or whatever, because like your internet thing your cable connection would like time out after a certain amount of time if you just sat idle.
Yeah.
Or it'd get ridiculous, whatever. But I got really frustrated with Mega Man at that point, and it took me a long time before I went back and revisited the series. So that's why it kind of omitted from my childhood largely.
Now, that game, you can find reproductions of it because it wasn't released in North America. It was just in Europe and over there. But you can find reproductions on the Sega cartridge, but it's also on that Sega Genesis Classics that came out not too long ago. So we actually we have a release of it now that we can officially play, which I still haven't played it. That's one of the ones I still haven't actually played, and I have that Sega Classic. I'm just
But you've played the other, like you've played the 3 on NES, so like really it's not much of a.
I mean, they changed the graphics up a little bit. They added the music. They spiced up the music, which that's a big thing for Mega Man fans. I think I'm sure Ryan would agree that the music is just in most of the games.
So I'll tell you this. Teaching high school, our kids would do journalism competitions, and I was the coach, and they would always advance. And our next round was regionals in Lubbock, and that's a 6-hour drive from Denton. So for the second year we went, I made a Spotify playlist of Mega Man 1 through 10, the original soundtracks, and it drove the kids fucking insane, but it helped me keep track of time. Like, how far away are we? Like, well, we're just into Mega Man 3, so we're barely even an hour out. So Mega Man 9 hits, I'm like, all right, kids, we're getting real close. Like, we've only got 2 more games left. We're almost there. And two of the kids were finally getting into it, and then the 2 females in the back were just fucking hating me and hating life.
You monster.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the music though, because that is probably the number one thing that the fans really like talk about. Like, it's really fucking hard, and it's got the best music. Some people claim it has the best music of any like 8-bit series ever.
Ooh, I mean,
pretty damn good. I mean, just.
It's really good, yeah.
Dr. Wily Stage 1 for Mega Man 2, which has just been covered an insane amount of times by just so many people, like guitar, violin. That one is just a work of art on the NES itself.
I had a buddy who he's in a band, and at the time the band was called Rock Lesnar, which I thought was dope. They changed like several times since then, but at the time, they actually used to play Mega Man songs in between their songs. So like they would do like, like sing like one of their originals, and then they'd like as a band like cover like one of the Mega Man songs, and like they like progress through the majority of like I guess you'd call it like the greatest hits of Mega Man, and kind of like your bus story, Ryan. It like almost like set the tone of their like performances. It was really fun to watch.
That's awesome.
Really fun to watch. You guys, go ahead, Cubby.
I was just gonna say, like, even like the little, like in Mega Man X, right when you pick the boss, it shows you like a the boss that you're gonna in the level that you're trying to go fight, and it's got the little like, it's just, you get hyped just with that little bitty thing that it had, that little bitty piece of music right there, and you're just like, yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just the fanboy, but like every time I hear that, I'm like, yes, let's go, we got this.
No, it's perfect.
So you guys also like brought up the cover art, like the game being ridiculously expensive and all that, and that reminded me of the cover art of the first game. Either of y'all want to like take a stab at explaining that?
Oh, I can. So in Japan, Mega Man is known as Rockman for a few different reasons. Like one, music is universal, and a lot of the characters share music names. Like Mega Man is Rock, his sister is Roll, his brother is Blues. There's also, let's see, other characters like Bass, whose Japanese name is Forte, Treble, whose Japanese name is Gospel, Ballad, Punk, Reggae, Tempo, and Tango. So you get the music element, and then it was also like a paper, rock, scissors thing, because some bosses would be strong against some weapons and weak to others, and then you would take their weapon. But when it came over to Capcom of America, they're like, nobody's going to get Rockman. Let's name it Mega Man. And then they went to some cover artist and said, hey, we need art for this. You've got a day and a half. So the cover artist, like nobody at Capcom knew what the game was about. They didn't really, the translation was terrible. And they see him on the screen shooting, and they're like, what's he shooting with? And the vice president of Capcom USA was like, I don't see a rifle, so it's got to be gun. So put a gun in the painting. And the guy who did it was like, this is not my fault. He's done interviews about it. He's like, I just did what I was told. It's shitty. I'm sorry.
And to be fair, the gun looks good. It's not his fault. Like, it's a good drawing of a gun, better than I could do.
The Japanese cover art for Mega Man 1 is a lot better. It's how we know him. It's much better.
I really like the UK cover art. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it's got like kind of a more darker, like it's almost like what Netflix did to Daredevil. Like it looks a little bit more adult than the Japanese version does. I dig it. So
I'm trying to look it up. Oh yeah. That's pretty cool. I guess I've never seen that before.
Since I work in a library, I've got these old Game Informers, but here's the original. And then the Japanese is, I guess, like on my right. But yeah, it's
a big difference.
Yeah, like there's no yellow in him. Like even in the game, there's no yellow. So,
and definitely no real.
Wasn't there something about them maybe calling him like Rainbow Man or something because he would change colors? With each weapon you get, he has a different like skin color, or not skin, but like the armor. Yeah. So like he might be red, he might be green, or So I think at one point it might have been Rainbow Man. Jeez.
No, they had it as like Knuckle Kid, Bash Kid. That stuff wasn't working. So then they're like, well, he changes colors, so why not Rainbow Mega Man or Rainbow Man? They didn't like that, and they thought Rainbow Mega Man or Rainbow Rock Man was too long, so they just went with Mega Man. And like the original sprite was developed by Akira Kitamura, who's AK in the credits, and he originally had him as white, and then they hired Keiji Inafune straight out of college. So he was 22 working at Capcom, and he's like, well, there's a 56 color palette on the NES, and there's more shades of blue than anything, so why don't we make him blue instead? And like his sprite up here, it's actually like multiple sprites layered on top of each other so that you get more color, more pop, and more animation.
That's really cool.
Right.
That's really cool. I actually saw a thing I was reading right before we got on, and apparently there's a pretty cool story that comes to Mega Man where it was Dr. Light and Dr. Wily are actually partners, and they make all of these robots to help people, but one of them, Wily, betrays them. But what I thought was interesting is that story didn't happen until Mega Man 4. And up until that point, from what I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently what I saw is in Mega Man 1, the person that wrote the only story was like NES style. You had to actually like read the booklet that came with it. Otherwise, you're just kind of like, what's happening? Well, the person that had to write the bio or the story inside the pamphlet, the only material he had to work with was the cover art. That was the guy with the gun. So like the story completely is different. It has nothing to do with what we know as a modern Mega Man. And it wasn't until the 4th game that they actually like retro like fixed all of this and were like, no, these two doctors had a falling out, and then they actually, I think Rock was his name, volunteered to be turned into Mega Man to battle Dr. Wily.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember any of that as kids? Like, did that affect you at all? Like reading the story, or were you like throw the cartridge in and start playing? Who cares?
I mean, that's how I was, because I feel like I was too, because again, I said X was my series, and it does have dialogue, but I think I was either too young or just didn't give a crap about the dialogue. Like I pushed through all the dialogue just to get to the gameplay. But like I said, the cartoon is really what kind of gave me all the lore, because it's the same. I mean, for the most part,
That
it's the
makes
same.
sense. Yeah,
But you know,
that makes total sense.
the first episode is exactly that. Like Wily goes crazy and he's doing whatever, and Rock tries to and they call him Rock in that, and he offers to be changed, and then that's when he's Mega Man. So they kind of even throw in that his name is Rockman originally, but now they call him Mega Man since he's got the armor,
And that kind of
stuff.
connects
So,
back to the original translation. That's cool.
Yeah.
yeah, which yeah,
I definitely think it was the
So-
cartoon that helped me out too. So I was reading. I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, like I think Dr. Wily is based on Albert Einstein, and
Oh, nice.
Dr. Light is based off of another scientist. But you know, Albert Einstein being the evil one because he came up with the atomic bomb, which was dropped on Japan.
There's a lot of stuff that makes sense there. Yeah.
because he's Albert Einstein. He's got the crazy hair, but yeah, like he performed like illegal things on robotics, was banned from working on them. But his buddy in college and robot school or whatever is Dr. Thomas Light, and they work together, and they develop these robots like Cutman for forestation, Fireman for waste disposal, Gutsman for construction, Electman for electricity, Bomb Man for demolition, and Iceman for ice. And Dr.
refrigerator.
Yeah, keep the beer cold for everyone else.
And Dr. Wily, being evil, reprograms them, tries to take over the world. And that's when Rock steps up.
See, that's a really rich lore that, like, I think it's almost a shame that like, again, obviously there was a cartoon. Obviously there are products available because I see dolls, hats, T-shirts, and
See if this
collectibles.
works.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Do you guys
Welcome
want to
back.
hear me now?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
totally hear
Oh,
you.
Yeah, we
I
can
just
hear you
gotta
now.
use my phone, so I can go.
You do kind of look like my grandma trying to answer her phone, though. Like, is this thing working?
Yeah. And something else about the lore, which is pretty interesting, is the 6 robot masters that Dr. Light creates, like they're somewhat autonomous. They have a little bit of free thought, but they're mainly worker bots. But Mega Man and Rock, he was developed to have like free thought and autonomy and can actually power himself off. And so it kind of gets into it doesn't explore, but it's that existential stuff, like what makes a person a person? Can a robot be more than a robot? All that other stuff.
That's heavy, man. That's real heavy. Have they gone on to explore, so we have the cartoon way back in the day. Have you guys seen any other medium outside of video games that kind of explore the lore of Mega Man?
There's Archie Comics has a comic book series. I think it's still ongoing right now. I was reading it for. It's not. I know it got up to at least issue 60 or so before I
It
stopped
stopped
reading
there.
it.
It was right before, like, I think the events of Mega Man 3 end up finishing, and then it just stopped. Like, publication got canceled, which is a real shame because they really like dive into some deep stuff. They added extra characters on there, and they gave them like a lot of emotion and used like my teaching background and all that writing shit. They gave them like ethos, pathos, and logos, and like developed them as actual characters and not just machines. Like, there's a lot of heart put into that comic book series, and it's a lot of bullshit that it got canceled. And plus, there's a crossover where Mega Man and Sonic the Hedgehog team up to fight Dr. Robotnik and Dr. Wily.
That's dope.
pretty cool.
That sounds really interesting.
I think you can find like PDFs of all the pages online, so the entire series is available for free. Sadly, well, kind of sadly, good for us, but
Good for us, bad for the people that don't get paid for their art.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a real
Yeah.
bummer. That's a real bummer. That sounds cool. I feel like this is the type of series that would be like right for like a Netflix animation program that they're doing right now because everything's coming out on Netflix, or like a movie. Do you guys have any hopes to see something like that? Or
I've seen a couple of like fan made movies and trailers and stuff, and every time, like, they're always not very good, but when you see them, you're just like, man, just come on, just try, just try. There is a new cartoon series out, or maybe it's over too. I don't know. I didn't like it as much because it's not my Mega Man. You know, just like any new Ninja Turtles is not my Ninja Turtles. So I didn't really give it a chance. He's more like a vigilante. Like, no one knows that he's Mega Man. Like, it's kind of like a Superman deal. Like, oh, now Mega Man's here.
He
but
takes
what
off his
happened to Rock?
glasses and now he's Mega Man. Is that
At
what you're
least
trying to
other name's not
Basically.
Martha.
But there's always talk that there's going to be a Mega Man movie. There's always, and I think we even heard something at the beginning of this year that someone that has directed something else was like, yes, we are talking about a Mega Man movie. And that's all they said. And we were like, oh, give a little more than just fucking that, you know? Do you remember who that was, Goobs? I'm pretty sure it was shared in our Discord.
It was fucking a while ago. And
Yeah, it was a real good while
If they
ago.
did make a Netflix series, I'd like to see Noelle Stevenson, the showrunner for She-Ra, take it over, because it would make it, I think, way more modern. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't have so many, because you got roughly 88 robot masters, and one is a woman. It's Splash Woman from Mega Man 9. It's like,
We could probably have a little bit more inclusion in the Mega Man series.
yeah, women can be robots and not just sex bots. They can.
You know what? When we reviewed those first two Mega Man episodes, there's a lot of like, you know, Roll has a vacuum on her hand, like her Mega Buster is a vacuum, and there's some really rough references that are kind of dated.
Maybe some undertones though in that game is as you know, just a sign of the times, I guess.
Yeah, it really is.
Like Dr. Light made Rock to be his lab assistant, and he made Roll, his sister, to be the maid.
I see. Did he program that robot to get pregnant just so we could make jokes about her being in the kitchen? No, that's no, I think that's a great idea because you're right. Robots really don't have any gender or identity in that manner. So like, why not give everybody a little more representation in a more modernized series? And I think that's probably what would happen if it did come to Netflix. I mean, and I don't know, I guess, if they did a movie, how much they would want to stick to the source material. But, like, I think the same thing, really. Like, if you're talking about a robot, it doesn't really matter. But would you, if you had the choice, would you rather see something done animated or would you rather see something done live action?
I would go with live action just because we really haven't seen it yet. Like I said, we've gotten two cartoons, and then there's plenty of cutscenes in some of the later Mega Man games where they're animated. I mean, I'd like to see them try live action just to see. That way, I could be like, okay, that didn't work. Let's go back to just
It worked for the
animations.
Tick, man. So the
It did
cartoon,
work for
I
the
think,
Tick.
was
It
better.
worked. Well, not
I
the
think the
first
cartoon was
time.
better.
Not the first time. The first Tick. Yeah, the second time they tried the Tick.
I
was
love
much
the
better.
live action Tick, dude. Like the old one, like I thought that was fantastic. It's so campy, but I love it.
Yeah, if they did live action
Yeah.
Mega Man, I think it would have to be a series because it would be rushed as a movie, possibly. But then again,
Is there an actor in your mind that you could see wearing the blue cap? Does it matter?
Spider-Man?
With this character, does it matter? Tom Holland?
There we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what? That would be a pretty good. Yeah, I'd be okay with that because he's not. Because that's one thing that I feel like you can't have someone that's too young because he is young, but you can't have like a 30-year-old man. It would
He's
just
built to be a boy. We don't need him in the. That is one thing about the Mega Man cartoon. They give Mega Man abs, and he's like a adult male.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Weird. Are you sure that just wasn't one of those like weird sites that sometimes pops up when you're on certain websites? I get targeted ads for that with The Simpsons, like Marge doing all sorts of things I didn't remember her doing on the show. But anyway, Goobs, if you could pick somebody live action to play Mega Man, who would it be in a Mega Man TV show or series now? It sounds dated to say TV show because it's probably on Netflix. Actually, that feels like a Hulu series.
Yeah, it does.
But what
it
we
does
need
seem a
is for
little more
HBO to
Hulu-ish.
pick it up, because they would actually give it the time and effort it needs to, like, you know, be like fleshed out. But Goops, actor for Mega Man, sir. Is he frozen? He's frozen. We're
Go
moving
back in
on.
time and get
He said, "What'd you say, Goops?"
3, 2. All right. I want to go back to the games anyway, because there's a lot left to talk about. Sorry, man. I'm glad that you're able to hear. We'll still like plug your stuff here in a minute. Sorry that it's not working out for you. But Ryan, you earlier, I want to say it was called Mega Man Legacy, which I believe is also Mega Man 64. If I'm not mistaken, they're the same games on PlayStation and 64 respectively, or maybe they're slightly different.
Yeah, Mega Man Legends on PlayStation, but yeah, it's the same thing as Mega Man 64.
So that was the first time that Mega Man broke from its traditions of being a 2D platformer. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Do you both remember playing that game, what your expectations were, and talk about that experience if you can? Go back and remember what it was like being a fan of the series and experiencing that change for the first time.
I don't remember seeing a whole lot of magazine coverage because I was mainly reading Nintendo Power still, and since it was PlayStation, it wasn't covered in there. But I remember seeing it like at a store or something that was coming out pretty soon, and we had a garage sale timed close to the release. So I remember selling a bunch of stuff, and that's what I spent my money on was Mega Man Legends, and I thought it was really cool. Like it just kind of role is still kind of there, but she's their like brother and sister somewhat. I don't know. It was just I didn't know what to expect, and I enjoyed what I played. I was, I think, 10, maybe 11 when it came out, and they've got these underground levels, and some of it was a little like creepy and atmospheric, and some of the stuff would jump out at you. So I remember getting a little frightened as a kid. And I remember the final boss just being a pain in the ass. Had pink hair, kind of a high-pitched voice, but was terrifying because it's very calm and murderous. It's not that psychotic murderous. It's that just calm serial killer precision kill thing. So it was really good. I never got to play Mega Man Legends 2, but I've got it downloaded on my PS3. And I know that the series ends on a cliffhanger. Like Mega Man gets stranded on the moon, and they're like, "Oh, we'll fix this in Mega Man Legends 3 coming soon." Nah, fuck off.
Oh. Is it the type of fuck off where it's like just never going to happen, or do you think it still might one day?
It might, because we got Mega Man 11 because the Mega Man Legacy Collection sold so well, and they hid artwork for Mega Man 11 in the Legacy Collection too. They're like, yeah, we'll just throw this out there for the 30th anniversary. Oh, we sold over 1 million units. This thing still has appeal. I think Smash Brothers helps. So like, okay, we'll make Mega Man 11. So there's a chance.
That's cool. Toby, do you remember playing the 3Ds at all? Like the transfer?
So, okay, here's the thing with Mega Man, which you don't know this at first every time you pick up a Mega Man game. Like, Mega Man X series, really, it has a little bit of lore from the Mega Man series, but they're not directly connected, but they are. It's weird. So, when I bought Mega Man Legends as a kid, it was so bizarre because the whole time you're like, well, I want to make a connection, but there's not one. Like, it's supposed to be like a couple thousand years later after the events of Mega Man X, is I think I've heard, or maybe that's one of the videos I've watched where someone tried to put it into an order that made sense. But it has nothing to do with your traditional Mega Man story arc. And it was awesome being able to play as Mega Man and run around and explore and kick cans, because you're gonna kick cans. One of his moves is you can kick stuff. So there's always cans laying around that you can kick into trash cans and earn zinnies. I love that series. I've played it too many times. I have it on the PS3 also, and Mega Man 2. Mega Man Legends 2 was awesome. Always waited for the that 3 though. There was also a spin-off game called what's her name? Tron. She had her own spin-off game. I never played that one. She's kind of like one of the main. She's like the Team Rocket from Pokemon. Like, you're always battling her, but she's kind of a bumbling idiot with her little minion. Actually, the her little minions that look like yellow Lego head people. You see them in the what is the shopping mall game?
Dead
Zombie game.
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising, yeah, and you can get the Mega Buster in that because
It's
that's
the same
Capcom
director,
game.
Keiji Inafune,
because-
who did Dead Rising.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I love that game. Like it's probably one of my favorites to go back to. The controls are way different because we didn't know that how to use the joysticks to kind of use how you move around in modern games. So like to turn to like spin your view left and right, you have to use like the R and L buttons
Oh,
and then move forward. It's just different. Yeah, it's old school. Like that's just how they programmed it. But it's great. I love that series. But then when you move on to some of the other series like the ZX series, and then there's the Battle Network, which has nothing to do with anything else that's ever been done. Isn't there one more series? Am I missing?
Yeah, like
Star
thing.
Command.
see, I didn't even realize that there's this many
Yeah.
spin-offs. That's a lot.
And they all are continuing. Like Mega Man 11 is still continuing its storyline, while Mega Man X is still continuing their storyline, while the other Mega Man games, the ZX, are still continuing their They're not finished to where they actually tie in together. That's why I'm saying they're loosely tied.
It's like more
And
like they exist in
like
the same
Mega Man
universe
11
than they're actually connected. Or is that not the way to do it?
Kind of like so Mega Man Classic and then Mega Man X are kind of the closest on the lines because Dr. Wily, the enemy in the Mega Man series, is the one who ends up creating Zero and the Sigma virus, which I guess was actually the Zero virus, which, 200, 300, 400 years later, when robots are completely autonomous and they're Reploids or whatever, that's when the X series takes place. So you find out in X4 that Dr. Wily is the one who created Zero and released the virus that makes all the machines go crazy and murderous. So that's how the two are connected. So it's
Yeah. But then they never say like, Dr. Light ends up like putting Mega Man in a capsule of some sort and letting him go through like a diagnostics thing to kind of learn and whatever. And somehow he's under rubble and they find him and they get him out and all the robots are they're mimicked after him and that's why they're Reploids, right? Isn't that what it is? So, and then in the games, you see Dr. Light. He's the one that gives you. There's these little capsules that you jump in to get your power ups and your armor, and it's like a little hologram of him explaining, like, "Oh, I've got this for you." So it's loosely tied together, but they haven't finished the like he said, the classic Mega Man series to where it's like, okay, this is why Mega Man got put into a capsule, and this is why we sent him forward. Like we just had him running diagnostics all this time. So it's tied together.
Yeah.
That makes sense,
but it's not.
There's a fan-made game that's really cool, but one of the final bosses, like after you beat Wily, is you stumble upon an incomplete Zero, and you use every single one of your weapons on it, and he just deflects all the projectiles. It doesn't do any damage, and it's an impossible fight to win, and he ends up like severing one of Mega Man's arms before he malfunctions, and Proto Man has to help Mega Man get out of there, and like Mega Man's carrying his arm in his other like free hand. So it's a fan made game, but that's the closest they've gotten to tying the two universes, and that's kind of like Mega Man going, I can't beat this thing.
That's pretty cool. I like that we're now in an age too where you have like not only fan made like films and cartoons, but like actually like games that help tie these things together. I think that's pretty damn cool, actually.
Yeah, one of the
Ryan, you mentioned Smash Brothers earlier. Oh, go ahead.
One of the fan made games was like so well made that Capcom just kind of bought it from the people who made it. It was the Mega Man X Street Fighter game that was free to download.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's like little 8-bit characters. I never played that one though.
It was difficult,
but I've seen it.
So is it a Mega Man game that you played with like Street Fighter characters, or was it a Street Fighter game where you fought with Mega Man characters, or nothing at all
It
like
was
that?
Mega Man that you fought Street Fighter characters, like Ryu and Blanca would be one of the bosses at the end of a themed level, and then
Oh, wow.
you beat Ryu and you'd get his Hadoken. And then like the final boss was M. Bison, but of course you can unlock the secret Akuma fight somehow.
Interesting. That's cool. I wanted to ask you more about N64 N64, Super Smash Brothers, which I played on the N64 now. Before that game became overwhelmed with just tons and tons of characters, I think Mega Man is arguably the last character that is before the age of these DLC packs they're doing now, where you're just buying character after character, which it seems like which is going to be the future of the series. But do you remember getting hyped for Mega Man? Did you play as Mega Man? Talk about Smash Brothers and the impact that had on Mega Man.
Well, so I'm not real good with Mega Man on Smash. I like that he's there. I think there's people that can master him, but it's just not the play style, which is unfortunate because I would, if I could make Mega Man my main, of course that's what I would do. But his play style is just, it's too hard for me to come up with a good strategy while I'm playing. So, but it's nice that he's there, and it's nice that they've included some of the what are they called? Like you can get the Mega Man X. What is it? The Shadow? I don't know. There's some other stuff in there for Mega Man stuff that you can unlock and stuff. But yeah, he's not super great in that game to me.
I'm the same. I didn't have a Wii U, so I didn't really get hyped about the Smash Brothers game on that. It was fun to play with him in the Switch version, Smash Ultimate, but same as Toby, I'm not accustomed to that play style. Like on the newest one, I think the new guys I liked most were the Belmonts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I just wish they'd go back to making Kirby good again. Make Kirby good again. That's what we need in that game. I just want to be cheap and spiral kick people off the edge. That's it.
Yeah. But talking about the impact, though, I teach in a middle school, and we're starting to have kids that were born during the Obama administration attending, and they know Mega Man because of Smash Brothers. So it's good that he's staying alive because of that.
That's a really good point. I imagine that could be something where the kids originally saw him on Smash Brothers and then bought that Legacy collection just because they want to know more about this weird blue guy that shoots guns or whatever, or not guns, hand cannons. There is another game I want to talk about that is a load of controversy. I feel like we need to touch on the game Mighty Number 9. What happened?
Ooh.
Everybody was so. I remember people getting so excited about that.
What happened?
And to be honest, I wasn't one. I was like, oh, it'd be cool. I'd check it out if it's good. But there are people that were way hyped, and it turned out to be a dumpster fire. What happened? Talk about that experience, and were you one of the people affected by it? Ryan, start with you, man.
I knew that the father of Mega Man, Keiji Inafune, left Capcom October 2010, and that's when they had a Mega Man Maker game before Mario Maker came out. They had Mega Man Legends 3 and some kind of first-person shooter Mega Man all on the slate, and then when Inafune left, they just shit-canned all of them. And he started his own company, and he did the Kickstarter for Mighty Number 9, which was going to be the spiritual successor. I didn't back it, but once I saw that it was available for the Xbox One at Best Buy, I bought it and was super excited and took it home and I don't know, it just wasn't good. There's just something about it. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it just wasn't good. In a modern game, the voice acting was shitty, and there's really no excuse for it anymore. And it wasn't a good campy, shitty voice acting. It just was. It was flat from some of the main characters, and it was kind of annoying. Difficulty spikes that were just beyond frustrating for even somebody who can go easily breeze through the NES Mega Mans. Even this was like that.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown. I mean, you can tell that there's the Mega Man feel there, but it's not. It's like 50% Mega Man feel. I don't know how that happens, since like it's almost like a Mega Man clone. I mean, it is. It's just I don't know. I don't know what it is. Because there's another game that I love to play called 20XX, and it's a roguelike game. So it's exactly like the Mega Man X series, and all the stages change every time you play. It's different, and I love the shit out of that. But it feels like a Mega Man game, and there's other characters that you can unlock and stuff, so you can play as other characters. There's a character that's like Zero. It feels like you're playing like Zero. There's a character that's sort of like, it's got a whip, kind of like the Belmonts in Castlevania. So I feel like even all of those characters playing still feels like a Mega Man game. There was just something about that game that didn't feel right. And I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It should have been better than what it was. And there was I think there's a lot of production problems too. I think they just had, I don't remember all the stories that happened, but I think there were some pushes, and then they were going to put it on this system, then they weren't going to put it on this system. I feel like they may have gotten in over their head a little bit on that project. And I don't think it had the same love behind it like most of the Mega Man games do. Like, there's one Mega Man X game, I think it's 6 or 7, where they tried to do like a 3D looking style on the platformer. Do you know which one I'm talking? Is it 8? It's 8.
Like,
oh,
7.
I can only see one of your hands, to be honest.
7.
4?
And honestly, that one wasn't. It didn't feel like a Mega Man game because of how weird it was. So I don't know, but like Mega Man 11, it's 3D-ish, and it feels like a Mega Man game. So I don't know. It's really hard to pinpoint what went wrong.
Like even like Shovel Knight, which was heavily inspired by Mega Man, feels more like a Mega Man game than Mighty Number 9 did. And they even got the original Mega Man composer to compose a few tracks on Shovel Knight. I think let's see, what's her name? Monami Matsume. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, they got.
I love Shovel Knight. I thought that was a fantastic game. I bought the deluxe version on Switch. Had all the DLC, and I remember once I started, I didn't want to put it down until I beat it.
I do have a question for
Ryan.
Are
got
you
to
a
play it
Cuphead
during
fan?
the pandemic, and I enjoyed it. It was. I can't imagine doing it on hard mode, but
No,
That game's tough.
me either. I finally beat it not too long ago, and I don't know. That even feels kind of Mega Man-ish to me. I mean, it's got like more of a machine gun. You know, you just hold down the shoot button, but like even that game like felt like a Mega Man boss battle rush mode or something. You know, and I loved it. So I didn't know if maybe it was just me just really enjoy that game, or if it's other Mega Man.
Yeah, it reminded
fans
me
that
of Mega
enjoy that
Man,
game, so.
Contra, and then with that Steamboat Mickey cartoon feel, and the music was great too. But, Number 9 just fell so
The music was
flat.
awesome.
That's interesting that you both have essentially the same answer, that it was just bad, but hard to explain why. And that's I think we all know that feeling though, because sometimes it's just trying to be something and it just isn't it. So with that said, what if you were to name the it game? I know this is going to be tough because there's so many of them, but tell me both what you think is the weirdest Mega Man game that you've ever played, and in your opinion, the best Mega Man game that you have ever played. Toby, I can see the anxiety on your face. I'll start with you.
I mean, Mega Man Soccer has to be up there. There is a Japanese board game one that I've never played. I think it's like Monopoly, but it's with Mega Man characters. It may even be unreleased. I can't remember too much about it, but Mega Man Soccer is not fun by yourself. If you play the computers, it's too hard. It's too damn hard. Otherwise, it's kind of fun and unique if you're playing with a friend.
Did you play Super Mario Strikers?
So I'd say.
See, I love that
didn't.
game. I think that game's fantastic. It's on the GameCube, and it was basically Mario Soccer. But it seems like Mega Man was just doing that before it was cool.
Yeah, it was 11 on 11.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the fun, fast-paced arcade action of Mario Strikers or Mario Soccer. Yeah, it's the computer. It cheats basically, like all games in the old days. But there was if you stood at the corner of the opponent's goal box and kicked it diagonally, they couldn't block it. So that was the way you had to cheese it, which I didn't find that out until I was in high school. But yeah, that game came out in '94 to go along with the U.S. World Cup craze, and I'd say it's got to be the weirdest American release. Yeah, because I remember something like the Mega Man Mario Party board game Monopoly thing, but never got to play it. They made a Mega Man racing game, but that's kind of par for the course. There was the Mega Man Power Fighters, which I actually had to play the actual arcade at the West End in downtown Dallas back when the West End building had a giant arcade in the basement, and it actually had businesses in there versus being an empty haunted house now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'd say I'd agree with Toby on Mega Man Soccer probably being the most bizarre. As far as favorite games, I've just got to go Mega Man 2.
Okay.
Mega Man 2 is good. I got to stick with my first love. Mega Man X is always there for me. I do love Mega Man X4 though. It was one of the first PlayStation games I had, and then Legends. I would put it between Mega Man X and Mega Man Legends because those are two different games. It's two different styles completely. But X has got my heart. I think
it's so hard to pick a favorite game though, because even though I think Mega Man 6 is probably the worst of the classic games, it's still a really well-made game and fun to play.
So what is it about 2? I fully expected you to say 3 just because you said it was the first game that you'd ever beaten. What is it about Mega Man 2 that set it apart for you?
It's so hard because it's just kind of like Mega Man 2 is 1A and Mega Man 3 would be 1B, but I just think it's the music, it really hit its stride compared to the original Mega Man. It just barely edges it out, and just the fact that you can go to beat Metal Man and then you become an ultra killing bot because his weapon, the Metal Blade, just destroys so many things and it uses very little ammo, so you could just click on that for half the stages and just wreck shop, and including most of the bosses like Woodman, Flashman, Bubbleman, just with one overpowered weapon. And he always reminded me of a doctor on the 8-bit because he had that giant metal blade on his forehead with the the NES graphics. It's like, oh, this is Dr. Metal Man.
Awesome. Well, guys, Ryan, do you have anything else that you just want to say about Mega Man in general? And also, do you have anything that you want to plug, social media? Or
I guess just real quick, a few things. Like when you said you're going to, I thought at first you're going to tell me about my Mega Man tattoo, so I'll go ahead and show that.
I forgot to tell. I honestly forgot to show that off. I did mean to bring it up, but you're.
So it's
that's awesome.
It's X, but he's doing the power slide from Mega Man 3, and then I've got the E-Tank. Yeah.
Super cool.
I would love to see, I think, a really a cohesive Mega Man remake the same way that Lizard Cube remade Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. And just you put all 11 games in the same artistic style. That way, all the challenge modes are cohesive. Because in Legacy Collection, the first one, you could battle all 48 Robot Masters from the first 6 games in a special challenge mode. But when the second Legacy Collection came out, all the games were separate, and that was a disappointment. So I just like to kind of see that, but all of them in a cohesive art style, jumping from versus NES, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and then back to 8-bit graphics. That's what I'd like to see. Plugs, not really. I'm not too active on social media, but if you do want to follow, it's at 27RFF. I just post screenshots from my PS4 and Switch games that I play, and that's about it.
Right on. And the overlord of bad secret media, sir. Make sure you cover Goobs as well in your plugs, but also, do you have anything else that you want to say about Mega Man?
No, just Mega Man's the best. I mean, we got a logo that's similar to the Mega Man logo, but you can go to badsecretmedia.com, find all of our links. Goobs has a podcast called The Derailers. It's awesome. They bullshit and have a good time. I've got 2 podcasts, Secret Transmission and The Secret Levels. so secretive. Secret Levels, we do retro video game reviews where we've talked about some of the Mega Man games, and it's available on all the major podcasting platforms. So, Secret Levels, hear me and Goobs gush over Mega Man, because that's how we bonded. That's how we started the podcast.
That's awesome,
because of Mega Man.
Give us
Basically.
the 30-second version of that sweet story. How did it? What happened? How did you find that out of each other?
We used to talk about wrestling all the time. I saw him wearing an Altered Beast hat one time, so I was like, "Oh, cool, he's into retro games." And then we were like talking about Mega Man. We didn't know each other liked Mega Man, and we were like, "Oh shit, I think I love you." And then we got married. And we banged a little. It's that old story about a Texan and a
Using
Canadian.
the old canon. All right, man. Thank you guys both so much for joining me today. You can find me everywhere online at Mr. Most Days Off. You can check out my weekly Simpsons podcast, The Best Darn Diddler Review Show, and you'll find me back here next week on Get Vocal talking about something I haven't determined yet with someone I haven't talked to about it yet. So hopefully I'll put that together. But in the meantime, stay tuned to Fandom Friday, and I will see you next week. Until next time, be cromulent to each other. I also don't know when this thing ends.